Looking back, it feels like an old nightmare, but I know it happened. That night is as clear in my mind as if it were yesterday. There's something about certain places, the shadows, the silence, the feeling that you're being watched that never truly leaves you. This is one of those stories. Growing up in Washington, I heard a lot of stories about the valley we lived near. Locals called it the Valley of the Snakes, a name whispered more as a warning than a curiosity. The tales went back generations, stories of people disappearing, strange sounds at night, and shadows moving when no one was there. The pioneers and the local tribes didn't agree on much, but when it came to that forest, they shared the same warning. Stay away. They spoke of dark things, creatures, and spirits that roamed the woods, ancient shadows that didn't belong to this world. It was a place even the bravest wouldn't dare explore after dark. There was a trading post up in the mountains, a safe place for early settlers, or so they thought. One morning, when others arrived, the place was empty. People's belongings were scattered, tools abandoned. They left everything behind, like they'd fled from something no one could face. After that, no one ever stayed there for long. At the center of the clearing was an old cistern. Some said it was cursed. Strange, dark stains would appear on its walls, and water drawn from it had a bitter taste, a lingering odor. People started to believe the stains marked something, evil spirits or demons bound to that very spot. We were just teenagers, desperate for a thrill, or maybe just too young to know better. That night, my friend and I decided to drive up to the cistern, late enough that no one would be around to stop us. There was this dare, you see, to go there at night and see what came out of the dark. When we got close, I saw it. On the side of the cistern was this dark stain. At first, it looked like any other shadow, but then it shifted, almost like it was alive. One moment it looked like a crouched figure. The next, it was gone. It was enough to make my blood run cold. Then, everything went silent. No wind, no crickets, nothing. The forest seemed to be watching us, holding its breath. We were surrounded by a stillness so thick it felt like the trees themselves were pressing in. It was as if the whole place wanted us gone. My friend turned to me, his face pale as death. Without even looking back, he pressed his keys into my hand and whispered, "Run." I barely had time to react before the fear took over, and I started running as fast as I could. Behind me, something was moving. I dared to glance back and saw it, a dark, shapeless figure rising from the ground like a shadow pulled into human form. It moved without sound, its face nothing more than a void. It didn't walk, it glided, like it didn't belong in this world. For a moment, I was frozen. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. That thing was gliding straight toward me, filling the air with a cold that cut right to the bone. It was looking at me, no eyes, no face. Yet somehow, I knew it was looking right into me. Then instinct took over. I turned and ran, branches clawing at me as I tore down the path. I could feel it behind me, moving as if it was part of the darkness itself. It didn't make a sound, but I could feel its presence, closing in with every step I took. I broke out of the forest and saw the car. My friend was inside, screaming for me to hurry. I jumped in, fumbling with the keys as I looked back at the tree line. For a moment, I thought it was gone, but just before we sped off, I saw it standing there, watching us, as if letting us go. Just this once. Years later, I still remember that night, the silence, the shadows, and that thing that chased us. I'll never know what it was, and maybe it's better that way. But sometimes in the quiet of night, I swear I still feel it watching, waiting just beyond the light.